Welcome to the Build Your Brave Career podcast, where we flip the script on the tired stereotype that women in and around the tech industry have to be stressed out, overworked, and underpaid. I'm Nicole Trick-Steinbach, your host. Forget what you've been taught. Bravery is not a personality trait available only to the brash. Bravery is a skill, and you already have it, which is great. Because building the skill of bravery is the most powerful way to creating the career and life you really want. As you build your brave, you will stress less, work less, and then earn more. This podcast will help you do just that. Let's dive in. Hey there, woman in tech, facing down misogyny and the patriarchy is a technique. It is a tool, and it is one that you can build over time. Today, I'm going to answer a question posed to me at a live event. It's a very sensitive question. And specifically, it's about pregnancy. And if that is something that you're not interested in or something that is complete for you for whatever reason, I want to encourage you to still listen, because while I do answer a specific question about pregnancy, I also give you the tools, the attitude, and a structure for your direct response, as well as how and why to collect support from others. The question is, I work at a small company. When I call off sick, one of the men consistently asks me if I am pregnant. I want it to stop. What can I do? First, I want to settle us into the topic. What is happening to you is not your fault, and it is not okay. And for absolutely no reason is it ever even approaching appropriate to ask a colleague about their reproductive plans or their sex life. And that is what's happening here, particularly from a man towards a woman. There is a strong power dynamic here, and it is lethal to your self-confidence and the professional foundation of all of your relationships and results at this company. I cannot stress this enough. If anyone is comfortable undermining you in such a revolting manner, you need to consider what he is willing to say and imply when you are not in the room. If that does not make you shiver, you absolutely must take time to learn more about the patriarchy, misogyny, manipulation, and gaslighting. You need to learn about how manipulation and rumors tanks careers, reputations, financial security for anyone, but especially for women or other people who are not centered in systems of power. If I wrap it up, if I summarize it, this situation, it is dangerous, it is bigoted, and you get to respond as such. Your response is a brave response, and you need to find your own way to respond. I'm going to give you two ways, and they build upon each other. The first one is pushing back directly. The second step is collecting support from others. While you will not deal with situations of this gravity regularly, you will deal with disrespect, undermining behavior throughout your career. You need to find your own style and your own way of escalation. I was so horrified. I took this topic and this question to a number of fellow successful women. And this is one of the most stark examples of misogyny that any of us have heard in a beat. Here's why I asked for help, because I am a very, very cheeky human. I believe that conflict is healthy. Learning is messy. My humanity is not for negotiation. Silence is a tool, both for good and for bad. And I know that I am crafting my brave career here. However, in full transparency, I have often been called a bitch. And there is a good amount of disrespectful and unskilled people, also insecure people, who deeply, deeply, deeply dislike me. And I'm okay with that because I would rather build my brave career and like me than sink along trying to get respect from disrespectful people, trying to be seen as a human from people who dehumanize me, and trying to be in relationship with unprofessional people who are insecure and incapable of building emotional regulation. Now, that's me. I'm not saying be me. I'm giving you transparent context because you have to find your own approach and you have to choose your own consequences. And to be very clear, you will have consequences regardless of how you respond. If you don't respond, you will have the consequence of undermining yourself, swallowing down this bigotry and this misogyny, normalizing it for other people. And if you choose to respond, you will deal with the consequence of, yes, claiming your self confidence, but also dealing with direct conflict and maybe making mistakes and maybe going too hard or too soft. So, to ensure that I gave you reasonable, more holistic responses than just my own, I turned to other women in tech. These women in tech are successful and very different from me. Together, we bounced around a variety of responses. Some of these people desire to have children and they can or they can't. Some of these people already have children, like myself. And some of these people have never desired to procreate. So we have a well rounded response. Number one, address the inappropriateness head on. Respond with silence and a shocked face, then a disrespected face, and then a disgusted face. You're going to practice this in the mirror. Then, after 3 seconds of silence, say, "Excuse me?" Powerful. Silence is a tool for both good and bad. Number two, ask the question. Are you asking me about my reproductive health or did you just ask me about my sex life? You see the tone here? The tone is like baffled, confused, stunned. It's not aggressive. Number three, highlight professional boundaries. Hey, why would you jump to such a personal conclusion? We don't know each other's health or our personal situations. I'm going to go ahead and thank you for making the choice to not ask such personal and honestly potentially painful questions again. Number four, Taylor Swift it. Now we're getting into the cheeky line. Here's the line that we all came up with. That makes me think of a song lyric. I'm having his baby. No, I'm not, but you should see your faces. Because why would you ask me that? I'm sick. Number five, turn it around. Ask him a deeply personal question. For example, what a deeply personal question. Have you had your prostate checked recently? Number six, crash the walls. Notice I just took a deep breath and I just audibly sighed. Since you have asked this more than once and ignored my obvious discomfort, I will share. I have had a series of heartbreaking losses and misses, and I am regularly in immense pain about a deeply personal and astoundingly intimate topic like pregnancy. Do you like having this information? Because it might be true and it might not be true. And I ask that you don't ask me that question again. It's unprofessional, it's unreasonable, and it's inappropriate. So that one was very hard to say. I don't feel wonderful when I talk that way. And sometimes People need to have this conversation. That last one is a direct quote from one of the women that was in this circle coming up with answers. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not, but that human is going to have a lesson. So those are 6 potential responses. And you will find your own one and play with it. And you will practice before this happens to you again. Practice, practice, practice. People like to pretend that we should be as flippant as people are on some of these popular TV shows. I'm going to remind you, those shows, they're scripted and they run every single scene multiple times. So script your own show, script your responses, and practice in advance. Let's move on to step 2, collecting support. Because often, and very, very often, personal pushback to someone who is so disrespectful and misogynistic, it's not going to be enough. So you need to collect support. Here's what we suggest. We suggest strongly speaking privately and individually to 1 or 2 of your colleagues, as well as one trusted person who's higher up in the hierarchy. Share with them the situation and your discomfort. Now, here's the key. Ask for their advice on how to manage the situation. Specifically state your goal, that you shut down the conversation, you shut down the question, and that question it becomes so uncomfortable the person doesn't ask it anymore. Share, for example, that you want to demonstrate that your privacy is respected. Your sex life is understood as off limit, and then listen to their insight and their perspective. Why? There's 2 reasons. Number 1, the positive one. You may get some extra powerful insight that I can't give you, that the women I turn to can't give you, because we don't know these people. We don't know your specific situation. But number 2, you may find that this level of misogynistic disrespect is not limited to one person. It's a dynamic. And if it's a dynamic, meaning if others aren't as horrified by this situation, you need to get out of that job as quickly as humanly possible. You cannot be and remain in a situation that is dehumanizing, reducing you to a uterus and a childbearing human, and still hold on to your expertise and your confidence. It's not possible. There is a ton of research for this. It is not possible. Get out. Okay, but let's say that these colleagues are reasonable humans with an ounce of awareness. They've gifted you their insight and their advice. Fantastic. Now, before the conversation ends, please say to them, I really hope that you'll be able to verbally support me in upcoming meetings, projects, and conversations, indirectly strengthening my reputation and my trust here, and indirectly reducing the negative impact that has been created by this dynamic. If that person that you're talking to, if it's a leader or a colleague, offers to speak to your colleague directly, we've got some really strong suggestions for you. Number 1, be aware of power dynamics. Someone who is less senior than the person posing such disrespectful questions should not attempt to address this head on. Be aware of power dynamics. Number 2, clarify. You accept the offer. You do not request the intervention. You have to make it extremely clear that you did not ask for the colleague to speak to the other colleague or the manager to speak to the employee. You accept their offer for support. Number 3, insist on no tattletaling. You must. Now, you don't control what the person does, but you must stress that at no point in time in this conversation, in this intervention, should the person who offered to speak directly to the colleague state anything like, Nicole told me you asked her about being sick. Rather, it's come to my attention that you have been asking Nicole, are you pregnant, when she's calling in sick? Do you see the difference there? It's very powerful. It's a very important differentiation. And number 4, in the last part, you've got to release any follow-up. Do not ask for follow-up and do not seek it out. You are looking for changed behavior, not retribution. You got to let it go. You've got to let it go. As we wrap up, and this is for everyone, I want you to remember this. Building the skill of bravery, it isn't just standing up in an uncomfortable moment. It's about reclaiming your power, your voice, and your confidence. Bravery starts in a moment of discomfort when you choose to step through the discomfort towards who you want to be, one situation at a time. It's about choosing to value yourself over functioning for the comfort of others. And when we do this together, when we are brave together in our own individual moments, we reshape the workplace, the tech industry, into a place that actually respects everyone. Bravery, it's not always easy. You will feel more anxious for a moment, and you may face pushback. That discomfort is temporary compared to lifelong discomfort and the lifelong impact of allowing disrespect and misogyny to go on. Because every time you choose to speak up or set a boundary, you're not just standing up for you. You are standing up for all of us. We all deserve a safe and respectful workplace. So keep pushing, keep speaking. Never, ever, ever grant permission to someone else to make you feel small. Your bravery can be your superpower. You can embrace it. You can grow it. You can build your brave career. I believe in you. The other women I spoke to believed in you. So you get to believe in us and in yourself. Go brave it up. If the Build Your Brave Career podcast is helping reduce your stress, work smarter, or create more income, please share this with a friend.